Determine whether the disorder is interpreting a pedigree chart. Determine whether the disorder is dominant or recessive. So how do you determine? If the disorder is dominant, one of the parents must have disorder. So in pedigree chart, if the disorder is dominant, one of the parents should be dominant. One of the parents should be dominant, means should have the disorder. If the disorder is recessive, neither of the parents has to have the disorder because they can be heterozygous. So if one parent has the disorder, most probably it is dominant. Next. For example here, mother is dominant. One is recessive, and this is recessive. So this may be normal. So AA, dominant gene is here, the mother. So males and females are almost equally affected. Again, here both male and female is affected. That means they have AA pattern, AA pattern. Here also, all the affected will have A. Okay, the non-affected will have A. So this is the type of autosomal dominant. Pedigree showing transmission and expression of mitochondrial trait. Note that the transmission occurs only through females. Pedigree showing transmission and expression of mitochondrial trait. Note that the transmission occurs only through females. So this is an affect, and this is this is normal male. Female have the mitochondria affected. The sibling, the child will receive the mitochondria from the affected female. So all the children are affected. So this is the affected female and the affected male. Again, the male is not transmitting the disease to the siblings, but the female is transmitting the disease to their offsprings. Rules of inheritance. Autosomal recessive appears in both sexes with equal frequency. Trait tend to skip generations. Affected offsprings are usually born to unaffected parents. Okay. Appears in both sexes with equal frequency. Trait tends to skip generations. Affected offsprings are usually born to unaffected parents. Affected offsprings are usually born to unaffected parents. When both parents are heterozygous, approximately 1/4 of the progeny will be affected. When both parents are heterozygous, approximately 1/4 of the progeny will be affected. Appears more frequently among children of consanguineous marriages. Appears in both sexes with equal frequency. Trait tend to skip generations. Affected offsprings are usually born to unaffected parents. When both parents are heterozygotes, approximately one-fourth of the progeny will be affected. Appears more frequently among children of consanguineous marriage. This is for the next. Rules of inheritance for the autosomal dominant. Appears in both sexes with equal frequency. Appears in both sexes with equal frequency. Both sexes transmit the trait to their offsprings. Does not skip generations. Both sexes transmit the trait to their offsprings. Does not skip generations. Affected offsprings must have an affected offspring must have an affected parent unless they possess a new mutation. Affected offspring must have an affected parent unless they possess a new mutation. When one parent is affected, heterozygous, and the other parent is unaffected. When the one parent is affected and the other parent is unaffected, approximately half of the offsprings will be affected. Unaffected parents do not transmit the trait. Okay, appears in both sexes with equal frequency. Both sexes transmit the trait to their offsprings. Does not skip generations. Affected offspring must have an affected parent unless they possess a new mutation. When one parent is affected, heterozygous means only one allele is affected. Then the other parent is unaffected. Then approximately half of the offsprings will be affected. Unaffected parents do not transmit the trait. Rules of inheritance. X-linked dominant. Both males and females are affected. X-linked dominant. Both males and females are affected. Often more females than males. Often more females than males are affected. Does not skip generations. Does not skip generations. Affected sons must have an affected mother. Affected daughter must have either an affected mother or an affected father. Okay, both males and females are affected. Often more females than males are affected. Does not skip. Affected sons must have affected mother. Affected daughters must have either an affected mother or an affected father. Affected father will pass the trait to all their daughters. Affected fathers will pass the trait to all their daughters. Affected mothers, if heterozygous, will pass the trait to half of their sons and half of their daughters. Affected mothers, if heterozygous, will pass the trait to half of their sons and half of their daughters. Next, X-linked recessive. X-linked recessive. More males than females are affected. More X-linked recessive. More males than females are affected. Affected sons are usually born to unaffected mothers. More males than females are affected. Affected sons are usually born to unaffected mothers. Thus, the trait skips generations. Approximately half of the carrier mother's sons are affected. Approximately half of the carrier sons' mother's sons are affected. If it is never passed from father to son, all daughters are affected. Fathers are all daughters of the affected fathers are carriers. All daughters of the affected fathers are X-linked dominant. Only males are affected. It is passed from Y-linked dominant. Y-linked dominant. Only males are affected. It is passed from father to all sons. It does not skip generations. Mitochondrial trait is inherited from mother only. All children of a mother are at risk to be affected or carriers. All children of a mother are at risk to be affected or carriers. Example. This is an example of X-linked recessive hemophilia. This is an example of X-linked recessive hemophilia. Now here what has happened? The father is affected. The father is affected. X dot Y. Okay. Mother is not affected, or maybe a carrier. We don't know. Father is affected. This is very clear. And there is skip generations. The generation is skipped without affection. The generation is skipped without affection. And this girl probably may be a carrier of hemophilia. That's why here two sons are affected. That's why here two sons are affected. So there is skipping of generations and all males are affected. How what is the clue here? There is skipping of generation. Only males are affected. Only males are affected. Males are affected. Sons do not share the phenotype of their father. Sons do not share the phenotype of their father. Here the sons don't have the phenotype of their father. Thus X-linked expression of hemophilia, skip generations, recessive. Here if we take that the father is affected, so X dot Y, mother is not affected, probably. So the sons received one X chromosome from mother and one Y chromosome. Again, one X chromosome from mother and one Y chromosome. Same, one X chromosome from mother and one Y. They are all normal. But there is a probability that females are carriers here. So one X chromosome from mother, one X chromosome from father. So all females are carriers here. All females are carriers here. So there is no expression of the disease. So when this female got married, she transmitted it to two boys. Probably there is a chance that the other females can be, may or may not be carriers, because they will become carriers only if they receive X affected X chromosome. But if they receive normal X chromosome from the mother, they won't be carriers. Next example. Here, this is X probably dominant. Why? Okay, this is probably X-linked dominant. Why? You have to understand that father is affected. Father is affected and father is affected and the disease has been transmitted only to the daughters. The disease has been transmitted only to the daughters. This is why, because the daughters will definitely receive one of X chromosome from the father, one X chromosome from the father, that is the affected chromosome, and one X chromosome from the father. And since this is an affected chromosome, both, and it is a dominant condition, both daughters are affected. The sons receives the X chromosome from the mother. Since the mother has normal X chromosomes, they are not affected. They are not affected. Okay. So this is X-linked dominant. Every generation dominant. Father passes on only to the daughters. Father passes on only to the daughters. Here, since the mother is dominant, here, since the mother is dominant, so X dot X, there is a probability that both the son will receive one X chromosome affected chromosome from the mother and Y chromosome from the father, and this daughter here will receive X chromosome affected X chromosome from the mother and X chromosome from the father. But this, they have received normal X chromosomes from both of them. So next example 3. Example 3, here the clue is the parents are not affected. Here the parents are not affected. Probably they are heterozygous. They are heterozygous for autosomal recessive. Autosomal recessive. There is a chance that there are skip generations here. So we see one affected female. That means suppose the father has an affected gene A, a normal gene A, and mother has an affected gene A and a normal gene A. That means the child has received affected genes here. That's why this is the pattern you are seeing. Now, then again what happens? Probably this child is carrier. Probably she's a carrier. So we will write here A dot A. So no, so all of them received normal and carrier. So suppose if definitely this should be a carrier because there is an expressed gene here. Okay, and maybe probably this female is also an heterozygous carrier. So when these children will have AA, AA, and this will also have AA. So this is autosomal recessive patterns where the parents need not have to be affected and the children will get affected, and they usually skip generations. Autosomal recessive. Affected individuals from unaffected parents. Affected individuals from unaffected parents. Example 4. Autosomal recessive. Expressed in both sexes approximately equal frequency. So both males and females are affected here. Both males and females are affected here. Autosomal, not expressed autosomal recessive in every generation. That means autosomal recessive. This is autosomal dominant. This is autosomal dominant because in every generation you see the affected individuals, and males and females are affected equally. Males and females are affected equally. Autosomal dominant because males and females are equally affected, and every generation is affected, and every generation is affected. Y-linked dominant, only males are affected. Only males are affected. Y-linked dominant, only males are affected. All sons are affected of the unaffected father. This is X-linked dominant because the daughters of the affected fathers are affected, because this is one X chromosome and the daughters will receive always the X chromosome from the father. Since it is dominant, it is X-stressed, means all the daughters from the affected father is affected, but from the mother, the offsprings, half of the offsprings will be affected, but from the mother, half of the offsprings will be affected because one is affected, one is normal. These children, they received affected X chromosome, and these children, they received normal X chromosome. So half of them are affected. Example 9. You can see that every generation is affected. There is no skip in generation. Mother is affected and equal males and females. Females, males. Almost equal males and no skipping of generation. Every generation dominant, both male and female are affected. Example 10. Now again, mitochondrial, because the female is affected here. The past, the disease to affected female and the affected male. And then this is a carrier, affected female. And this is a mitochondrial. All children are at risk. Father does not pass it along. All children are at risk. Father does not pass it along to offsprings. Example 11. Autosomal recessive, because this can be carriers, then there can be an heterozygous here. Autosomal recessive, consanguinity, autosomal recessive, consanguinity, autosomal recessive, consanguinity, autosomal recessive, consanguinity. Two lines like this means consanguinity. Next, example 12. Here you can see that female is affected and every generation is affected. Every generation is affected here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So equal affected. So autosomal dominant. Okay. No. Here, sorry. Mitochondrial inheritance, because here this is transmitted from the female. This is transmitted to the from the female to the female and male, and in turn from the male it is not transmitted. No offspring here is how. What is the clue for mitochondria here? What is the clue for mitochondrial inheritance here? What is the clue for mitochondrial? It is transmitted here from the female. Here it is transmitted from the female, but from the male, affected male, it is not at all transmitted. Again, from the affected female, all the siblings are transmitted. Means there's a more chance that the female will transmit. And but to say it is autosomal recessive, there is no skipping of generations here. To say it is autosomal recessive, there is no skipping of generations here, and the parents are not affected. That is also not there. So be careful in interpretation. Example 13. Now again you see that the mother is affected. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Both males and females are affected, and every generation is affected. Okay, and we see that if it is mitochondrial, here, there shouldn't be transferred from male to male. There is a this can be correct, and there is no. So for me, it is autosomal dominant. Autosomal dominant. In every generation, it is there. In males and females, it is equally affected. Example 14. Example 14 again. Example 14 again. From the female, all the offsprings have been transmitted. All the offsprings have been transmitted, and but from the male, the clue here is for the mitochondrial, every generation is affected. And no, not every generation is affected. From the female, all offsprings have been transmitted, but from the male, no offspring has been transmitted. Again, from the female, all the offsprings have been transmitted. This is the clue for mitochondrial inheritance. Mitochondrial inheritance, father don't transmit, just mothers. Example 15. Now the father is affected. I think the father is affected and the females are carriers. Females are carriers. Because the males receive X chromosome from the mother, they are not affected. Females are carriers. Then this is X-linked recessive. X-linked recessive. Here what is happening? The father is affected, so the females are receiving one chromosome from affected chromosome from the father and one normal chromosome from the mother. So they are carriers. Since the males will receive the normal chromosomes from the mother, they are not affected. But here what has happened? This male who received the affected chromosome from the mother has become affected. So this is X-linked recessive. And that means this is here the mother is carrier and the mother is carrier. That means they are not affected. Means XY, then the female is carrier, then again only males are affected, only males are affected, means X-linked recessive. Not every generation recessive, not every generation is recessive. Affected dads makes carrier females, transmitted through mother only. Only males are affected and sons do not share phenotype of their father. Thus, X-linked. Not every generation is affected, then it is recessive. Affected dads make carrier females, transmitted through mothers. Only males are affected, sons do not share.